Hey guys, welcome. I am Chad Hoku of Hoku Props, and I've got my co-host Chris Talk of Talk Custom. We are the Ultimate Cosplay Podcast, and today we are going to be interviewing the PapaBear Cosplay magnific, wonderful, crazy, amazing person. So yes, we are going to start. This is a fake introduction, apparently, or at least I've been told. Thank you,
Right.
Chris.
Yeah.
But without further ado, PapaBear, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
First, thank you guys for bringing me on. This is it's an honor and a privilege to be amongst cosplay greatness. Appreciate that.
Wow.
It's
Yeah,
all
for sure,
debauchery.
for sure.
It's all debauchery.
Wow.
You are so wrong.
You saw us before. Anyway, go on.
So, a little bit about me. I started this about 8 years ago now. Didn't know what cosplay was. Had no idea it was a thing. I just know people dress up at conventions. And grabbed the costume out of Party City, went to my first convention, fell in love with cosplay from day one, and decided like I want to do that all the time. I want to take this as deadly serious as I can, and I've been doing that ever since. And it's brought me here. So since then, just kind of run off a few things. Just a quick overview. So since then, I've been the C2E2 mascot. I was a cosplay affiliate for Wizard World. I co-started Chicago POC Cosplayers. I've been associated with the cosplay charity group here in Chicago, Customers with a Cause. Also part of Cos Awesome Studios, and that's just
the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, for
Man,
sure.
you've been busy.
You are
Very, very busy.
the
very
most
busy.
well-rehearsed guest I think we've ever had, and you actually can recite all of your credentials off the top of your head, which I don't think Poku or I could do.
I got one. I won TwitchCon in 2016, and that's all I remember.
Yeah, I lost. I lost to Hoku during that contest, but we fell in love with each other, and now here we are.
That's
I mean,
the best
you know
part
what
of
though? In a
contest.
way, we won though because we found each other.
We did. Also,
For
I
sure.
got paid to
Yep.
be there, so that helped.
That's
That's a
true.
bonus, yeah.
And my costume cost a lot less than I made. But anyway, but
Mine didn't.
it's funny. So Papa Bear, thank you very much for being here, and I love your enthusiasm because full disclosure, I didn't know Papa Bear before we put our committee together, and you were recommended by, I believe, Beverly Downen, or maybe it was one of the Egg Sisters, actually.
Actually, I'm gonna take credit.
Oh,
I totally love. Okay,
that's
so
right. Forgive me.
So last year when we did our intermission videos, we had been asking just pretty much anybody we could to submit videos of what cosplay was to them. And for some reason, Papa Bears kind of got lost in translation. And so last minute, Courtney of Egg Sisters was like, hey, my friend's not in there, and he's amazing. And so we actually, she re-forwarded it to us, and we got it in there literally, I think it was like 3 seconds before the contest. And
Wow.
it was, I didn't actually, Sammy had heard it because she was the one that edited and that did that whole thing, but I didn't actually hear your response until it was live. And so my actual response when I heard what cosplay is to you, it was really impactful on me. And I was just like, that was probably one of the top 2 or 3 for sure responses that I had heard. And I was just like, man, this guy's awesome. I want to be his friend. And then I'm sorry it took a little bit more than half a year for me to reach out and try and make you one of us. Come to find out you already were. So
yeah,
it's pretty awesome.
Better late than never. Yeah, I appreciate it. It was a cool thing to be a part of last year, and I was just excited to just do my small part and help out last year. So
well, you're gonna be a big part of it this year. So
yes, sir.
Did you watch the show last year live?
I did. I didn't catch all of it, but
I don't blame you.
did.
I don't think anybody actually caught all of it.
No one caught all of it. There was a lot to catch. But you watched it, so you knew what we did, and now you're gonna be part of it this year. So anyway, if anyone doesn't know who's watching, Papa Bear is one of our judges this year, and he will be judging all of you, whether you're competing or not. But especially those that are, yes, that is the look of someone who is judging.
He is going to virtually flip all the seams.
Oh, he's gonna blast
Yeah.
them. Yep. Anyway,
Have you competed before? Actually, I might be kind of getting ahead of myself here, but I'm really curious about that because we've got a lot of people that have. Some of them have competed, some of them have judged, some of them are industry, some of them have no idea what they are, but they're still awesome and it works out somehow. You know, where do you fall in this category?
Well, I tried a little bit of everything. So
Yeah.
when I first started, so I did do contests and I won contests and things like that. But like after a while, it just wasn't very fulfilling to me personally. So I was like, well, what else can I do like in cosplay besides like contests? There's got to be something else I could do.
Right.
So then it was then I decided to kind of reach out locally to the cosplay groups and kind of volunteer with them and do events and stuff, just doing things in costume in general. And I found that more fulfilling, and volunteering like with charity stuff and with events. To me, that was just way more fulfilling than contests. Now, I'm not knocking contests. Everybody has their own way to satisfy their cosplay goals. That just wasn't something that I wanted to do. And then I knew for a fact I wanted to get into judging just to be on the other side of it.
Yeah.
So I volunteered to judge, and it was one of the best decisions I made because like judging is it's so much fun. Well, at first it can be stressful.
oh hell
But
yeah.
yeah, it's fun because you get to see, and here's the best part about judging. No matter how good you think you are or how much you've made, you always learn something every time you're judging. All these costumes have a story to tell, and you get to hear those stories every time you're judging. And it's like, I never would have thought to put that together. I never would have thought to put this together. I never would have thought to do that. And I had so many instances where somebody's coming in costume and they're telling me about it. I was like, wow, I never would have thought about that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if you're like beginner, middle, master, you can learn from all levels when you're judging, and you get to actually talk to the contestants and things like that. And I just found that way more satisfying than winning really anything. And it's exhausting because you're sitting there all day, and well, actually it's exhausting on both sides.
It is
for both sides. Yeah.
It is.
But
well, it won't this year. You'll be sitting on a couch.
That's true.
Yeah,
hopefully joining in on eating ice cream like Sammy and I will be.
Yeah.
And
sure.
It's
exhausting, but it's because you're going to be smiling so much that your jaw hurts.
Well, actually,
that's the best part.
It's worth saying that. So Papa Bear is going to be an honorary judge, so most of your stuff is going to be pre-recorded. So you'll actually just get to watch the show and probably laugh at yourself and be like, "Oh, I hate the sound of my voice," or whatever people normally say, or something like that.
From your couch.
From your
with
couch.
ice cream.
And
in pajamas.
You can eat ice cream and whatever, and we won't know what you're doing, but you are going to be obligated to
eat ice cream,
to vote. Well,
ice cream.
It's actually, it's something I wanted to mention is when you were talking about first of all, you made it sound really easy just to decide like, oh, I'm going to get into judging instead of competing, and I'm sure like all these
I mean, maybe it was though.
Good point.
And like that is a choice you made, but I'm sure there's a bunch of people in chat that are thinking like, yeah, what the hell am I doing? Why am I competing? I should just be judging. But it's not really.
Can I interject really quick and say something?
Because it's not quite that simple.
Dude, check this out. We are running a costume contest, and to all of you wonderful, lovely humans, why are you competing? Judging is awesome. Please compete, by the way. I love when you compete, but just saying, like,
we want what
if you can do what he
300
did,
judges
oh my goodness,
and 7 competitors. Is that what you want?
Dude, that would be kind of cool though. Can you imagine if someday, like, let's say 10 years from now, if we keep doing this craziness, which I hope we do, we've got like 300 judges and basically all of the winners of every contest we've ran. Heck yeah.
So get ready for, all right, this year's 16-hour cosplay contest is brought to you by
It's
these
gonna be like a week-long process.
800 sponsors. Yeah. Gonna just be
Oh
like
man,
a
can you
NASCAR
imagine
race,
the
but with
prizes?
cosplay. Yeah.
Oh goodness. Just one of everything that we've accumulated over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, hey,
But
it's worth.
to your point, you're right. Like, all right, getting into it it's a whole different beast.
What was your sales pitch?
Well, I got lucky. I
You
got
just
lucky.
smile.
Yeah.
That was part
He
of it.
charmed his way into it.
Dude, he's so charming. I'm
He
sitting
is-
here. I'm
he
just
is
like, oh,
I'm getting a
look
little.
at that smile.
Yeah, I'm with
So-
you.
I'm blushing.
I was very fortunate. It was Anime Milwaukee.
Oh, it's my first con ever is Anime Milwaukee.
Oh,
Dude.
see, small world, small world.
I'm so happy that you said that.
So
please go on.
It was Anime Milwaukee, and
Mm.
I just so happened to see a post where they were like, we're looking for volunteers for the hallway masquerade contest for Anime Milwaukee. And I was like, and I kind of wanted to get into it. Like you said, how do I even start?
Yep.
So when I saw this post, I'm like, well, I'll email them. And then most they could do is say no. If that's the case, then I just go on with my life. No harm done. So I emailed like, hey, this is my name. I showed them pictures, like I made these costumes, like I have a focus, like with foam work. I know all about that. You know, and yada yada yada. And you know, Anime Milwaukee's great, and I would love to be there, and all that good stuff. And so just so happens that they invited me to come and do the judging of the contest. And I came up there, and I had no idea what it was my first one. I told them, I said, I haven't done this before, but I've made enough costumes to know what to look for. And the people I was judging with, they were so nice, and they kind of told me how it goes, and it was like, well, you know, this is how it works. This is the scoring system, yada yada yada. It was like a training day for me, and it was like 12 hours, and it was like it was such a good experience. And then from then, because I had that one, I was able to be like, I've judged here before. And so I can judge yours. I know what this looks like now. I know what I'm doing. And then you get another one, and then it just kind of snowballs and snowballs. And then before you know it, people are like, oh, well, yeah, PapaBear, he judges contests. We can bring him here because this is what he's done. So I tell people, when people ask me how to get into it, it's like, volunteer somewhere.
Yep.
Volunteer. Like
Networking. It really is.
Yes.
Yeah, and
yes.
have courage and reach out and talk to people and just say like, hey, I think I'd be an asset to your show or your know, big or small, whatever the venue.
Right.
But start somewhere, and that's really cool that you did that.
Yeah, and it's also, it's like with judging, you can start at a smaller contest and then get more and more of that. We talk about legitimacy a lot. And as you kind of grow that legitimacy and you get that brand recognition, people recognize that you've kind of got the chops to serve that role that's needed. If for a lot of you out there that might be interested in judging, just know that so much of it actually is it's having like a portfolio of work that really proves that you're capable of kind of executing at a really high level. But then it's also just actually presenting yourself as not being a competitor anymore. It's as instead being more of a judge. Like you said, you kind of made that conscious decision that you wanted to transition from being the competitor to being the actual judge. And dude, that's such a great move that you made there, because it sounds like it's a much more fulfilling thing for you. I agree with you completely. Sure. By the way, it's like hearing what people have to say, seeing what they're essentially selling us as judges. Man, we learned so much how not to make the same mistakes.
Yeah. I mean, what people come up with limited time, limited supplies, limited money, but they just have this passion to just do this character. And when they come in with the cardboard, with the saran wrap, all types of stuff. And to me, it's all great. because I'm like, I've been there. I know what that feels like, where you're out of time, you're out of money, you're out of supplies, and you go in the kitchen and you go in your closet and you're like, well, okay, I need to put something together so I can have a full costume. Like I know that feel. So to see that on the other side is great. And it's like nobody cares if like none of that other stuff matters, whether it's like Warbler or this or that. They come in, they're excited about their costume, and then I get to share that excitement with them, no matter what skill level there are, because that none of that matters,
Right.
especially to them. And it's just cool to see how people just melt away all the ego when it's just about the passion of it, and to see that on the other side of the table is just so much more fulfilling to me. And that's why it's exhausting, but that's why I love to do it, because you feed off that energy. And especially if it's somebody's first time and they're just telling you, and I've had, I'm sure we've all had people that come in and they're just kind of shaking a little bit and they're very nervous, and it's like, I get it. Been there. I've been nervous in front of judges. I get it. It's like, just relax. We're not going to hurt you. Just tell us your story.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's just so much more fulfilling personally for me to go through that process, than to be on stage and do things like that. I like both, but
Yeah.
judging is just, it kind of like feeds my creativity and like fills my soul, I would say.
And there are people out there, and a lot of them are watching this right now, that live to compete, and I
For
don't
sure.
understand that, but I respect the hell out of it. And there are people that I know that they will always compete, and they'll also judge at the same time. Like they'll do both. And I there was something I was going to mention, but it's really interesting that you're on our podcast tonight, because so as many of you know, I'm the marketing coordinator for TNT Cosplay Supply, and I asked Papa Bear if he would be our artist of the month for February 2021, which he said yes. So congratulations to being TNT's cosplayer of the month, which
Thank
is
you,
really
thank you,
cool.
thank you, thank you.
And you sent in, like we have kind of a way of collect some information so I can do a write up, and there is so much depth to you as a person. Not just as an artist, but in reading what you had submitted, and when I was doing your write up, I was just like, this is something, because like in your write up, you talk about welcoming like strangers into your home to teach them like 101 basics of like how to cut and glue EVA foam, how to heat. Like
Yeah.
you bring people in, or you run workshops or things in your community.
Mhm.
You're in the Chicago area.
Yeah.
Just to teach people that want to learn, because there aren't enough avenues to do that. There's YouTube videos and there's companies that sell products and stuff now, but like you actively, I don't know when that came along. Maybe you got sick of competing and you wanted to teach or whatever, but I just loved how it's very like just selfless, and I, there's a lot to you that I'm just very, I don't know. It's very intriguing to learn kind of how you became the kind of person that you are, and how giving that you are to this community. So
I appreciate that.
yeah, and like this is all stuff I didn't even learn until after you had joined our committee, and then I was like, man, I'm so excited this guy is part of our team. And you can't, like, everyone, when we announced, or we told the other judges that you were on our team, everyone was like, fuck yeah, Papa Bear. Sorry for swearing. I totally just couldn't control it. But everybody freaked out, and they were like, Papa Bear is the nicest dude ever. So what did that look like for you when you just started like wanting to teach people, or to just give away knowledge for free? Because you didn't go on YouTube and start making videos. You just brought people in and started doing it.
Yeah, a lot of well, for me, it's like I'm really in a community building, and I feel like the more people that get into cosplay, it's the better. And so a lot of the hurdles that I was hearing was like, I don't know where to start. I don't know how to do this. I don't know where to begin. I don't know what tools to use. There's like all the barriers that that people hit when they're just trying to get into the hobby. And I was just like, you know what, and it was literally just, I just put a message out there. I'm going to be at my house from this time to this time. If anyone wants to come over and just learn how to do something, I'll be here.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and people came over, and it just kind of went from there. So it became like once or twice a month, when weather permitted and time permitted, I would just have these workshops where somebody would message me like, "Hey, I'm trying to build a sword," and I was like, "Say no more. Come over Saturday. I'll help you make it. If you have stuff to bring it. If you don't, I've got stuff. You can use some of my stuff." And it wasn't a big deal, because to me, part of the satisfaction that I get is seeing someone else, fulfill their cosplay goals. Because so to me, like I've done enough to where I feel like, cosplay has given me so much. I can give back, and how can I pay it forward, and how can I continue to, kind of push in the community and just kind of be a positive force, for everyone. And once I opened up the workshops at my house, I remember I had one time I had a good 15 people in my house and yeah, it just in my basement.
Wow.
And so I mean I bought 6-foot fold out tables, and I bought all this stuff, and because I just had folks in my house, and that was a great way to keep me motivated as well. Like we all hit those snafus where it's like, the burnout sets in, or like our creative batteries like draining. But when people are coming over and it's like, well, I got an arm to build, I got a leg to build, I got a helmet to build, and it's like you just feed off that energy, and it's like, okay, my battery's charging up a little bit, I can do some stuff too. And it just turned into like this big hangout, this big cosplay hangout, where people just come over and we would just make stuff for like 12 hours.
Wow.
And before you know it,
you realize
it's,
like
days gone.
No one does what you're talking about doing. Like nobody does that. Like, and that's incredible. Like that's so amazing. And I hope people that are watching that are picking up on like that hits me so hard. Like I'm from the Midwest. I'm where people would like, have block parties, or, have people over and teach them piano lessons for free type of thing. So I kind of understand that mentality.
Mm-hmm.
And I've lived it all over the country, and I've never seen that kind of just kind of open door policy in the cosplay community. I've seen a lot of people share, videos and YouTube stuff and books and whatever, but that's a whole new connection that you're making with the community. And that's why when you probably see people at cons, like you probably have this gravity about you where people are just kind of in your orbit, so to speak. And I'm sure that feels wonderful because you're attracting really positive people with what you're putting out. So that's incredible.
For me, it was because somebody helped me, and somebody, taught me how to do things and kind of helped me out. So for me, it's like,
do you want to shout them out? Is there a specific person, or is it a group of people?
Yeah, for sure. It was all right. So
tell us a story. Take us on an adventure.
Story. Okay.
Stay a while and listen.
In the beginning.
I'll just hide us.
In the beginning.
And then we'll have Papa just
Papa
tell us
and
everything.
Then came the bear.
So when I first started really just trying to figure out how to make stuff, and this we talking 7-8 years ago. So like YouTube, it wasn't really a lot of information like it is now. Like now, everybody's got a channel, everybody's got ebooks. I mean, you can buy foam scales, you can buy foam dowels,
patterns, and
for sure. 8 years ago, that wasn't
8 years
a
ago,
thing.
what were 3D printers?
Yeah,
exactly.
I think
Exactly.
8 years ago, 3D printers were PapaCura. That was
Right.
that was as close as people got.
So it wasn't a thing. So the only way you could really learn is like you had to find someone who could either tell you or show you.
Mm.
So, for
Yeah.
me, and hopped on Facebook, was just kind of just looking for cosplayers. So for me, that was and you probably know that was Wolfgar.
Yep.
Yeah,
Games.
so yep, that was Wolfgar. And I met him at Wizard World, and then we connected on Facebook, and he was the first person to actually show me beyond what I've been piecing together on YouTube clips. So so he took me to his house and he showed me how to do stuff. And then that always stuck with me. That always like hit a chord with me, because he didn't have to do that, but he did.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like, okay, somebody showed me at least how to get started. How then can I pay that forward and just kind of open it up and blow the doors off?
Hmm.
And starting those in-home workshops was my pay it forward in that way. And it just, prior to the COVID and everything, it was quite often. And I don't charge anything. I don't expect people to bring anything but their enthusiasm. And that's payment enough, really. And that
Dude,
that
you're
has
like a
kept me going.
unicorn.
Right. That's what I'm sitting here thinking.
What made you? My goodness, your parents must just like magic happened,
Yep.
and out came Papa Bear, who's, let's be honest, just Papa to all of us cosplayers.
Right, like
seems.
even your cosplay name is so fitting, and I don't know which came first, your personality or your cosplay name, but either way it works.
That, or you're really good at actually being like evil, and we just can't tell. I don't think that's the case, though.
No, I don't think so.
No.
No, you're so transparent. It's not even funny. Like, you were so good.
Yeah,
I love it. I admire the hell out of what you're doing. That's awesome, dude.
I agree.
That.
Okay, so let's talk about this contest this year. So what are you looking forward to? Because you watched last year, you were part of our intermission role, and you got to talk about what cosplay meant to you. But what are you looking forward to this year? What do you I don't know, anything from how you're going to judge to what your Judge's Choice Award, who it might go to, or what kind of costume, or I don't know. What are you looking forward to?
Well, just personally, I love seeing like props, and I love seeing different, like very intricate big armors. That's just like what I'm into personally. Any cool prop just makes me so happy inside, because and I think because, like, to me it's just hard to do. So because I find it difficult, I appreciate other people when they, seeing other people's prop work, because it just takes me forever to do stuff sometimes when it comes to props and things and armor and things like that. So I just love it. So any prop thing, especially the bigger the better. If it can't fit anywhere, that's a bonus.
Like if you can't walk through a door, that's extra points.
Yes, yep. That's a bonus.
There's gonna be a lot of those this year.
Do you want to store a Reinhardt?
Every time I visit you in Long Beach, that thing is just crammed to do all this. Anyway, whatever. So okay, so you're looking for big builds and big props. I think that's really cool. In fact, you could have the like PapaBear Cosplay honorary giant, gargantuan
trophy.
Yeah, like gargantuan prop award.
Yeah, that'd be good.
That'd
be good.
The biggest prop award. Whoever makes the largest thing wins your. Yeah, that would be hilarious.
I like that. I'm just a sucker for it. I don't know. It just, it just scratches my itch. Yeah, I just love it. I always have. I'm just into it.
Okay.
I don't know why.
So do you have a favorite prop that you've ever made?
Ooh, I would probably say, and I made the Hellboy, the big baby gun,
Yeah.
and that's my favorite because like Hellboy's my first costume.
Mm.
So all things revolving around the Hellboy costume is probably on my favorite list, on my sentimental costume list. So that would probably be my favorite prop, and it has the distinction of being my first prop. So it looks like a first prop.
Mm.
The seams are bursting out everywhere, and the paint is bad. It's fading. It's I mean it's put together like it was like duct tape at one point, and I just painted the duct tape black. It was a first prop, but it's my favorite one because it's from my favorite costume, my first costume, and I just love it. I've thrown away things that I've made, but that gun is I'll keep that forever.
That's
And
really,
I mean it looks terrible.
It's really cool for anyone watching this to hear that one of our judges started by making a prop using duct tape and painting it, like, because that's where we all start. Like, that's really important that we acknowledge where we came from, and that's where you came from. And something you actually mentioned in your write-up was that your Hellboy was your first cosplay, but you've kept it current. You keep making upgrades and you still use it. You still wear it. You've been using it for what, 7 years? But you keep maintaining it and upgrading. And like, no one does that. Very few people do that kind of thing, where they make something and they upgrade it or they maintain it, or like, I think Hoku has put on
in the last 7 years. Have you cleaned Hellboy?
Have I cleaned it?
Just say no. Yeah. You can't get something like that dry cleaned, Did you
Febreze. Clorox wipes.
The Price is Right, wrong answer, trumpet.
Yes,
yeah.
I did. I trumpeted.
So it's not clean.
Well, no, I have cleaned it. Yeah.
So like Febreze
leather pants. No, I washed it. Well, dry clean.
Okay.
Dry clean. Yeah, because leather pants and the jacket. Yeah, at least once. I feel like I dry clean it at least one time.
I've got costumes I've never washed. Yeah. So good question. This is.
Sorry, that was a little bit of a spicy on the spot. Like,
okay, all right. I got a new question. We've never asked anyone this, but this is I don't know. This is a loaded question, so we're gonna see where this goes. But
okay.
Oh no.
All right. What are your turn-ons and turn-offs for cosplay? Not sexually.
Oh.
Well, you can answer that however you want.
Turn-ons and turn-offs. Turn-on is easy. Anyone that has any level of enthusiasm and passion for their costume is a huge plus. Doesn't matter what it looks like.
Okay.
If you put it on and you feel great, to me that's the whole point. So that's nice to see when people are excited about their costume. A turn off, I guess a general turn off to me, just in the community, would be when people take themselves too seriously. I don't get it. It's
stressful. It's so stressful to see.
It is.
Do you mean competitively, or just at cons in general, or just?
Well, competitive I get.
Right.
I mean, I do understand that. So I'd probably say more cons in general. I mean, both, really both,
Right.
but at least with competitively, there's some stakes involved. But I mean, at a con specifically, it's like, why are you here? you know, you put on a costume, you have a good time, and I get it. Your costume breaks. I mean, things happen. You're late for your shoot. I get it. Been
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
But why are you here? We're all here to have a good time. We're supposed to be just trying to have a good time.
Right.
So, you know, when people take themselves like so serious, I don't understand, because it's a hobby. And I get people make it a business, and I get all that. And business is business, but it's a hobby. Enjoy yourself. If you're getting gray hairs over cosplay, why are you here? You know, so that I don't understand. Um, it's okay to laugh at yourself sometimes. Sometimes, okay, it's okay to let loose a little bit sometimes. And you know, the whether that costume is finished before the con or not, con will be here next year.
Yep.
There'll be another one next month. There'll be another one the month after that. So it's okay. You don't have to. It's all right. Cons ain't going nowhere.
Right.
Even now amongst the pandemic, they gonna be back.
Right.
Yep.
So
And we're still doing things to try to keep it alive virtually, you know.
yeah.
We're doing our part, and other,
For sure.
you know, organizations are doing their
I
part
mean,
too. But
we literally just watched a really interesting kind of contest.
I like the
What,
the adjective
2 hours
you
ago?
used. Yeah, we did watch an interesting event.
I didn't understand the categories. That was all. That was all. It was.
Don't say it by name, because this is gonna. Yeah, whatever. You know what? I'm just gonna cut this from the edited version. Yeah.
But well, no, okay. So you know what's funny is you just actually like punched a pet peeve of mine. The word interesting to me does not have a negative connotation. It's interesting. It's
I said that
my
to be
interest,
as
you know what I mean?
ambiguous as possible.
I know. So
yeah.
so I wasn't actually like crapping on what we were watching earlier. It was different. It was something new.
It was different.
But considering the event and everything, how it transpired, like I still felt a little piece of me was like, hey, I'm at this con that I love.
Yeah.
In a way. So it was like, hey, that's awesome, you know.
I have to say, I think that was the first fully pre-recorded cosplay and community event.
Yeah.
Every other one I've watched was like kind of, it was virtual, but it was live. But that one was completely pre-recorded, and there was no chat. There was no commentary. Right. So it just felt different.
There wasn't a live chat on YouTube? I'm pretty sure there was.
Oh, I was watching it on Blizzard's website or whatever.
So yeah. So on the Blizzard website, if you actually clicked at the top on the title, it would take you to the YouTube, which had the full chat scroll.
I just watched it. But we were all talking in Discord, so it was fun.
You know, it was a lot of fun too.
It was fun to watch in chat. Anyway, back to what we were talking about. The reason I asked that loaded question was because since this stream or interview started, everything out of your mouth has just been the most
love and wonder.
Yeah, just the most positive, just like rainbows and like, you know, and gumdrops flying out of your mouth.
Like unicorns.
Yeah,
it's like
whatever. Body. Yeah, just unicorn vomit for the first hour. And I wanted to hear. It's so funny because you took something that is a, you know, cosplay turnoff, and you proposed a solution, which is, you know, like, you told people, hey, like, give yourself a break, you know?
Right.
That's okay. You can do that.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry. You don't have to stress. And you're right. And it's everyone that comes into cosplay, that goes to their first con, has their own experience. No one has the same experience, you know? And some people, the first people they meet are ultra serious, competitive cosplayers, or they take it really serious and they think that's how I'm supposed to be. And other people just show up because they want to have fun, and you know, so it's really, I'm sure there'd be a way to profile people that way or whatever, but I certainly, my first con was Anime Milwaukee. I had no expectations. I made my first costume ever. it looked good on the outside, but on the inside it was just a train wreck. But people recognized my character, and I was really happy.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was a lot of fun. And I just went with me and one other friend. We were both like, I was 30 when I went to my first con. And anime conventions draw a much younger audience
For
than
sure.
30-year-olds. So I felt
Yeah, for sure. I feel like the
kind
old
of
man,
weird. Yeah.
You know, I will say some of the bigger anime conventions, because I've been to a lot of them now. The larger ones tend to have a much more diverse age group.
Right.
So like Anime Expo, which is like the biggest in North America, it's out here in Los Angeles. That one, you've got grandparents running around
Right.
who are just like huge
okay.
Dragon Ball fans and stuff. You know what I mean? Like I'll never forget seeing, like, she had to have been in her 70s and she's dressed up as like Bulma from Dragon Ball Z. I was just like, this is great, you know. But that's something that I've noticed, that at the larger cons is you do have an older crowd there as well, and it's pretty nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It's great.
we're growing with the crowd at all these cons too.
That's true. That's true.
And actually,
yeah.
Hold on. Okay, so you're our second male guest that we've had. How old are you?
I'm 36.
I'm 36 too. So
Yeah.
good.
I'm not.
Yeah, I know. Hoku's the baby.
I'm a baby.
Just barely 30 years old. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got a good age bracket
look good.
here.
I mean, we mid-30s. We look good out here.
Yeah, we're doing all right, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we can all compliment each other. Maybe we need the boost.
I'm down an eye. I'm down some hair on top.
Hey, that's okay.
My skin's all
Bald
melting
is,
off
bald
my
is
corpse.
in right now. Bald is in.
Are you saying what I got going on is no good? Because I'm not getting rid of this. This is
what
I made this.
I've got a question. Okay, we got to focus here. What is your favorite costume outside of Hellboy that you've seen somebody else make? Do you have one?
Ooh, interesting.
I've seen somebody else make.
I want you to answer that after he answers this too.
Okay.
Huh. I never been hit with that one. That's a good one.
It doesn't have to be like the top one, but just one that comes to mind. Okay, we'll come back to this question. So, tell us something super weird that happened while you were judging at a contest.
Super weird.
Weird, strange, bizarre, anything.
Well,
I'll start off if you want. Would that help? So when I was at Holiday Matsuri a couple of years ago, I was judging with Yaya Han. There was a few other judges there as well, but Yaya made this face that I will never forget because this gal walked in. So for anybody that has not been to Holiday Matsuri, it's one of my favorite conventions. It's in December out in Florida at Orlando, and it's kind of Christmas themed. It's really cool. Got a great community vibe as well. So this gal walks in and she had been, clearly cosplay crunching, and, she's rushed and hurried, and her hand is all bandaged up. Right. And so we're just like, okay, what's your costume? Tell us about it. Blah, blah, blah. Right. We're listening. And then she's like, yeah, I actually just got here from the hospital. Yesterday, I was cutting glass for my prop, and I accidentally severed off my index finger. And I just look at Yaya, and she looks at me. We're like, did they reattach it?
Right.
Is it successful? And she's like, yeah, I might be able to move it. But she was so excited because she finished the prop.
Wow. That is hard.
And I admire the heck out of her for that.
Yep.
But yeah, so you got one?
That's pretty hard to top.
Hoku lost an eye in a cosplay related adventure.
Adventure. That's an interesting way of putting it.
I mean, we've covered that, but are we going into cosplay injuries now? Is that our next topic? No, I
wasn't trying to talk about injuries.
You were asking about judging stories.
I've had
even a funniest moment
after contests where if they didn't win, they would come up all pissed off and
yep.
looking for answers as to why they did not get first place, or I've had that. I think we've all had some of that. And sometimes there it's different if you're just asking like, hey, what happened, what can I improve, but to just come up like mad as hell, like, whoa, I should have, how could you not, don't you see
This
how
goes
well
this goes
is
along
made?
with your biggest cosplay turnoff, by the way, which is people that take things too seriously,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Um,
And and I try to explain it to him like, well, because you missed this, you missed that, and that's because of these reasons, like you missed this placing or whatever. And for some of these folks, it doesn't matter.
yep.
They're the best costume in that building,
I think
and
we
they
we all
should
know
have won.
someone like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and and it, and then they go into then that's not it. Then they get on Instagram, they get on the Facebook, and they're like, the judges are this and that, and the judges don't, like, who are these
Oh
judges
goodness.
anyway? It's like, all right, yeah. So yeah, there's some of that, but you got to be prepared for that as a judge.
And that's part of why we're doing this podcast is so if in the event that anyone's ever like, who the hell are these judges? We have a whole library of podcasts literally with just
Right? Yeah.
dozens of hours of content saying like, this is who Papa Bear is. This is why he's a judge, because he's this positive, this talented. He brings people into his home for free and teaches people things. He's the mascot of C2, like all these things. So in the event that people, doubt our panel of 17 judges, which it would be really
it is
not a
17,
good
isn't
idea
it?
to go after any one of the judges. Not that's not a threat or anything. It's just like,
Yeah.
it's a pretty, even for me, a terrifying judging panel, even as the host. Okay, I'm curious if anyone's thought of their favorite cosplay besides one they've made. Because Hoku, you asked Papa Bear that a moment ago. What was your favorite cosplay that someone else made?
Well, what's yours?
I think mine is 06's cosplay of the Lagiacrus Monster Hunter armor from last year's Ultimate Online Cosplay Championship. It was so perfect. I'm still mad at myself, and I don't regret it, but I'm still mad that I didn't give them my Judge's Choice Award, because it was so perfect.
You should just make them something and send it to them.
I'm considering it, or anything Mulholland Art has made, because I love Monster Hunter so much, and like the Glavenus armor from last year, or yeah. Anyway, that's my answer is 06, and they're in Australia, I think. Australia or New Zealand? I'm gonna get punched in the face for mixing that up. Anyway.
I think okay. So I think I have three answers for this. So one of my favorite costumes that I've seen, and these are all ones I've seen personally. Well, no, actually, I take that back. One of them I haven't seen personally, but it's awesome. So I'm a big Warhammer fan, and so hold on, my computer. Sorry. Big Warhammer fan, and one of the costumes that I saw was from B Cosplays in Australia, and he made a Terminator, a Space Marine Terminator cosplay. It's 10 feet tall, and I mean he can walk in it the whole deal, and it is fantastic. And
you did say you like huge ass cosplays earlier, so yeah.
That's true. That's true. Yep. Wow. Yeah.
The consistency is there. The continuity is with everything you're saying is there.
And so I first saw that and I was absolutely floored. And it's perfect. It's one I wish I could see in person, but of course he's in Australia. A shout out to B Cosplay for that. Another one I saw. This is from SKS Props, Stephen K. Smith. It was his Warcraft orc.
That was one of his earlier ones too.
Yeah. Yep. And I just perfect costume. That's another big one actually.
Yep.
Love that. and you know the way he created the skin for it, and this great costume. And then my last one is from it's a hog girl from Prado's Projects. She's here locally, so and she made a hog girl. It's got the wings. It's like fully armored. It's the mace, the whole deal.
I might have to look that up.
It's perfect.
You say Hawk Girl?
Yeah, hog girl.
Are you saying
And
hog
it's
like
perfect.
pig or hawk like caw, wings and feathers?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, DC's hog girl. Yeah.
I love it. Caca with birds and feathers. Knocking stuff over.
So those are three of like some of my favorites that I could just
cool.
off the top of my head for sure.
Okay, do you have 1 to 3 favorite cosplays ever?
I absolutely do, and you're gonna laugh when I tell you, but it's my buddy Woodwarder made Griefheart. It's the we call him Mossy Chan, right? And he's the he was the armor of Reinhardt's mentor after he died, and was sitting in Eichenwald's throne for years, just kind of getting covered in dust and debris. So my buddy Davey, who goes by Woodwarder Creations, he made this beautiful Reinhardt costume that just blows me away. And then the other one's actually another Reinhardt. It's the Egg Sisters. They're Blackheart.
Oh yeah.
God.
That costume actually in many ways is the Egg Sisters Reinhardt got me through building Lionheart in a way, because watching them do it, because we were all kind of building at the same time. It definitely was giving me inspiration and keeping me excited, knowing that I wasn't alone in the process outside of those close to me who were helping. So I'm in total agreement with you. Watching people build big is so exciting and fun. It's also incredibly difficult because of the execution. I frown upon I don't want to say frown, that's kind of too strong of a word, but I much prefer to see a costume with really good mobility than a costume that's a statue.
Right.
I think it's a shame when people can't move around in their costume, either because of visibility reasons or because of just the inability to move around. That's something that I hate to see, because it takes, I think you'll agree with this, it takes the enjoyment away from going to a convention. Like, I go to a convention because I want to go to a convention. Cosplaying is like the icing on the cake.
Right.
And when your cosplay actually takes the convention away from you, that saddens me. I understand if you're in like a competitive environment, but even then, if you can build big, plan the logistics first, so you can make sure that you're able to move your arms, move your legs, get it in and out well, not have things just falling off. You know what I mean? And that is such the biggest difficulty with building big. So yeah, for totally. Sure. You're literally like my prop maker brother over there. I think we're very much in alignment. So
there was also some comments that your top 2 favorite cosplays were other Reinhardts, and
I love the character. What can I say?
No, I know. I think it's great.
For those that didn't know, who are here late, I built a Lionheart costume back in 2016. So yes, at least in that regard, I know what I'm talking about.
And PapaBear, forgive me if I'm feeling, I want to ask Hoku the same question. What are his turn-ons and turn-offs for I want to ask everyone that now. I want everyone's answer for that from now on. I'm going to ask that question.
Officially ask me the question.
Hoku, what are your turn-ons and turn-offs as far as cosplay is concerned?
One of my biggest turn-offs with costumes is poor rigging. Actually,
are you talking about judging or just like in general?
You asked the question. Are we talking judging? Or are we talking in general?
I'm talking in general, like as a civilian.
So in general, watching somebody really struggle to wear their costume, it's painful for me to watch. I actually think the very first thing you need to do when designing a costume is think about the logistics. Think about how you're going to get into it, get out of it, go to the bathroom, eat food. Are you going to have a bunch of plugs and stuff just like when wires running all over the place, or is there a cleaner way of doing that? I get so excited when I see somebody do this like really cool rigging process, or have like really functional mechanical attachments. So like leather straps with buckles to me are are so much better than, let's say, Velcro. Like, oh my God, I hate Velcro so much. You want to know what sucks about Velcro, guys? You can never put it on the right way. It's always going to be slightly off, and then your shoulders are going to be kind of like, meh, 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 and you're just like, oh God, now I can't do the thing. And it's just like, my God, I just want to wear this flippering costume. I caught myself there. But yeah, so that's, so that's one. But you gave me, oh man, I could talk all day.
I do.
You gave me the option of what are my turn-ons and offs, not just one. So if I could give,
you just gave me both, by the way. You said,
I know I did.
You got horny for leather, and you hate poor rigging, is what you told me.
Dude, poor rigging's the worst, man. But the other thing is, it's so funny is listening to Papa Bear. He was saying stuff that's just resonating with me so much, and I'm just like, yeah. Like watching people suffer at a convention, whether it's because their costume isn't working out the way they want it to, or they're in a disagreement with their loved one or their friends or their family or whatever it is. It's just like, man, like I'm not a cheap person. I'm like a little frugal. And so when I go to a convention, I want to enjoy it so much. And if there's something that is getting in the way of that, and it's like, oh, my shoes on my costume aren't working out right, ditch the shoes, man. Like, I don't care. I'm going to enjoy this costume, because you know who doesn't actually care about shoes? Anybody that actually matters.
Right.
If you're going to be in a contest, bring your dang shoes, wear them for that long, and then get them the heck off. Because, actually, so shoes. Sorry, that's actually the biggest pet peeve. I hate stupid shoes. Costumes need good, comfortable shoes, guys. Like, how much money you spend at a convention? How much did you spend on the badge? How much did you spend on the airfare or the travel costs? How much did you spend on building the costume? Think about the return on investment, ROI, right? Think about how much time you have spent building this costume and what that would equate to at minimum wage cost even, right? Like we're talking people spending what, 100+ hours on these costumes, right? What is the federal minimum wage right now? It's like $7.25 or something still, right?
Like how we're talking about ROIs and minimum wage.
100 hours on a costume at $7. Dude, that's so much money that you are just burning if you're not going to enjoy this costume. You need to enjoy it. And if you don't, because you're wearing stupid shoes, shame on you. Come on, guys. Get some insoles, break those things in. Here's how we do it. When we have a costume that needs new shoes, we buy them at the start. As I'm building that costume, I'm wearing those shoes. If I can't build that costume while wearing those shoes, that means I shouldn't be wearing them when I'm in costume, because they will never be comfortable. Do not take this from me, shoes. I will burn you. I will cut you up and throw you in the trash.
When I was like getting into
public announcement is now ended.
When I was getting into competitive cosplay and talking about networking, this is like when I was getting to know Hoku, he was like, if you're going to meet the CEO of Blizzard or of Comic-Con or Repop or whatever, if you're wearing shitty shoes, it's going to show on your face, and that person's going to see your face, and they're going to know that you're not comfortable, and they're not going to like you because you look like he went on another whole separate rampage. So like it gets deeper. Like,
oh, dude, I could
go
go
on
on
shoes for literally 2 hours. So we're
all freaking day.
Yeah.
Well, so let me ask a follow-up question to Papa Bear. How many times have you seen somebody sitting on the floor in the corner of a convention with their shoes off in agony? I rest my case.
Yeah, every time.
We need to get you a gavel for the next podcast.
That's true.
I rest my so Hoku apparently won that debate, which wasn't even a debate at all. But
I was debating with the world of terrible shoes.
Hoku versus
also, by the way, shoes that are under $20 do not have proper structure and they will fail you. Don't buy them on Amazon. Sorry, Amazon.
Yep. Or what's the Medieval Collectibles sells really good looking costume boots, but they're terrible for you. Do not buy them.
Don't do this.
Go
buy some awesome work boots.
Go to Sandler and Son and buy like $400 boots. I know it's crazy.
You'll never need another pair.
You'll wear them for a decade and they'll never let you down. Anyway,
you know what? We need to get a shoe sponsor.
We do.
We need to find like a leather boot sponsor for this contest.
Red Wing Boots, which my family made the leather for that company for decades, and
Well,
Sandler and Son sells it like every Renaissance fair. We should hit
there
him
we
up
go.
and say
We'll work on it, guys.
Yeah,
No promises.
yeah, we'll work on that, but I don't think anyone's going to forget about what Hoku just said about footwear. So
I'm gonna clip that and put it up somewhere.
you can't clip it. It was too long for that's a highlight because it was too long. Yeah,
I will make it happen.
let's talk to Papa Bear about something now.
Actually, no. Let's give him a chance. Do you have any questions for us?
Oh yeah.
Is there anything just burning inside of you that you want to know?
You gave us an hour and a half, and we got 20 more minutes of Papa Bear to really just soak up as much of as we can. So what's on your mind right now?
So for you both, what were some of your, when you first started, or whether you first started or whether you are looking forward, what are some of your cosplay goals? Like, what are your aspirations? Like, what were they when you started? What are they now?
I'll let you start.
You first.
You want me to go first?
You first, because I'm gonna
blow it top. All right. And I got to be careful because I could go for a while on this, but I started sewing as a joke. A friend of mine said, "Hey, they have one of those Comic-Con things in Milwaukee called Anime Milwaukee. We should go." And I was like, "I want to make a costume," but I've been joking about wanting to sew for years, and had a couple of ex-girlfriends that were like, "That's a waste of time. Don't do that. Whatever." And as soon as I was single, I was like, "Find a fucking sewing machine." So I did, and I made Ezio from Assassin's Creed. Took me like 2 months. I had no idea what I was doing. I went to the con. My goal was to have something that looked kind of like the character and to have fun. I also wore terrible shoes, and I was one of those assholes sitting on the floor with his boots off for half the time. But I look good, right?
How much did that suck?
It was awful. Ever since, I never did that again, even before I met you, by the way. But so, and it's interesting because so my goals have, I started sewing for cosplay for fun, and then I fell in love with sewing, and eventually I started making clothes because I couldn't go to a convention every weekend, but I wanted to keep making stuff, right? So I worked in mental health. I spent 9-10 years working in mental health, so I love helping people. So that's why I associate with you so much on what you're talking about, Papa Bear, and Hoku as well. But I started Talk Custom because people kept asking me, "Where do you buy your clothes?" And I said I made them, and they wanted me to make them clothes. So I started a company, started selling stuff, started doing craft fairs and art shows, and I started streaming and taking commissions internationally. Then I started competing. My first contest was TwitchCon 2016, where this, slimy asshole beat me sideways. But it's always just been about fun. I've never been competitive. I was never disappointed. No one had a bigger smile other than Hoku. Actually, other than Hoku's fiance, Sammy.
Yeah, and that wasn't because I won. It's because she was getting a corgi.
Because which you'll tell, yeah. But I was so happy for you, and I just love being part of that crowd. And so something, and sorry this is a long-winded story, but I kept making costumes, and I ended up, one of my most loyal viewers on my Twitch stream was the owner of TNT Cosplay Supply. And I was in a difficult position when I was living in Austin, and I had to move, and I said, "Can you offer me a job?" And she said, "Get your ass up here. I got a job for you." But I'd never really worked with foam. So I started working for TNT, and I made my first foam build, which was another finalist at TwitchCon in special effects. And after that, I started getting sponsorships from, all kinds of, I have like 20 sponsorships now, and it scared the hell out of me. And I had these goals. So we're talking about goals. And I thought the goals that I had were to get sponsorships, to get partnered on YouTube, get partnered on Twitch, win a contest, meet certain people, be able to do projects or collaborations with other artists that I admire. And this was stuff I didn't think would happen for 5 or 10 years. And all this stuff happened within 6 months last year. Like everything. I was in a documentary for Brothers Sewing Machines. I got to judge my first masterclass, you know, cosplay championship. I got to host my first ever cosplay contest last year, which was a joke also, but it went so well that we're doing it again. And
Yeah, what was the name of that contest, by the way?
it was called the Ultimate Online Cosplay Championship. We didn't have a year attached to it because we thought it was going to be the only one. But anyway, the end part of the story is when all of this started happening, I didn't know how to handle all of these opportunities. And I called Bill Duran from Punish Props and I said, just what the fuck do I do? And he helped me. He told me, like, I've been where you're at, you know? And like he's been at every stage from like making a Hellboy gauntlet out of duct tape and paint to, you know, being Bill Duran of Punish Props, you know? And it was that moment he gave me some really good advice. I won't go all into it, but I realized I need to just take the ceiling off of my goals. I cannot have a limit anymore because as soon as I limit myself, I'm keeping myself in a glass jar. I'm keeping myself from doing anything. So I completely let go at the beginning of last year. And that's when we put on our first contest and I got more sponsorships and I met more people, including yourself. And so anyway, there's no limit to my goals anymore. Just do as much as I can possibly do. I only got one life and I've suffered a lot. I've been through a lot of trauma. I'm in recovery. I have, chronic depression. I struggle with a lot of, social and mental issues, and accomplishing things and meeting people and building and teaching and being part of a community has given me life, a life worth living. And being part of this whole thing is real life for me. So that's my goal, is to continue to pursue that. And that's as nutshelled as I can really make that. So my goal is to have ultimately the highest goals that I could possibly have. Even if they're unachievable, I don't care. I'm going to try anyway. If I fail, I don't care. I'm going to try. Oku, you're up.
Dang. That was good.
It was.
Right?
It
It really was.
was.
Like my heart is bursting in just like complete joy at hearing what you were just saying.
I kind of blacked
That
out
was
during
awesome.
that. I don't even know what I just said.
That's fine. I blacked out as well.
Yeah.
If I was there with you. I just assume it was great. It's weird. I've always been a very, very motivated person. But I don't want to say that I've always really set clear-cut goals for myself. Instead, more what I've done is kind of set themes for how I want to live my life, right? I was raised by a very, very incredible set of parents with really strong moral values, and they've instilled in me, I believe a great work ethic and as Sammy says it, lawful good by nature. And so what I kind of realized back in, about 2011, which is when I really started most of what I do now, I've always built stuff, and I always hated the fact that there were things that didn't exist in our reality, and I wanted them to, right? I kind of position myself more as being a prop maker than a cosplayer. And so the reasoning behind that was I wanted to include things in my life. Okay. And so as time went on and I played games and I saw things I liked, I was like, I want this to be real. And so I would make it, or I would try and figure out how to make it. And it grew and grew and grew and grew and grew. And then what I realized though, and I say that this is selfish, by the way, so much of what I do, I love educating people, right? but that's because it's the best way for me as a person to grow. Is if I can share my education, if I can share my knowledge, if I can share my mistakes and prevent others from repeating those mistakes, oftentimes, sometimes I'll find somebody who has made the same mistake but figured out a different solution. And when I can take multiple different angles of how problems are resolved, I can come up with like what I hope to be the best approach to resolving things, and not repeating those mistakes, and like increasing your efficiency and maximizing the overall impact that those choices have. Right. And I'm not just talking on like a cosplay level, I'm talking on a life level. Right. That's really how I try to live my life. I truly believe, though, that I don't have to harm people in trying to live my life the way that I want to. I can help them. I can help others. And indirectly, it always tends to come back and help me as well. I meet people like Chris. I meet people like PapaBear. I meet,
we're both
people
named
like
Chris, by the way.
Yeah.
I know this, and I didn't want to go. I meet people like Chris, and we've got a Chad, a Chris, and a Chris on here. There's a little bit too much CH going on here, so Papa-Bear it is. And I almost just said Beard Papa.
Beard Papa. Anyway, you want to roll.
So that's, I was on a roll, and I'm still am. I'm gonna finish now.
Good.
I love you.
I love you.
But yeah, so that's the thing for me is, how can we really make sure that the effort that all of us universally are putting into things is shared? We are a community of people. We are not individuals very often, because it's the community that lives on. Us as an individual, we have a finite amount of time to make change in the world, right? But if you kind of make sure that you are approaching your choices to make sure that those changes are lasting, I think there's a lot more value to that. And it just feels good to help people. It feels good to be nice. It's so wonderful to see smiles on people's face. I hate, if you didn't get the vibe earlier, I can't stand suffering. Just, one of the things that actually Chris and I pretty much, I think, bonds us is the fact that the both of us have suffered a lot in our lives in different ways. We've got our own different mutual extensive amounts of pain. And I think there's a lot of people that way, but that just pain in a way is unique because it gives us an insight into a world that not everybody has experienced. And so my big hope is that the pain and suffering that I've had to experience is going to prevent that from reoccurring in other people's lives. Whether that's as simple as yelling at them to stop wearing stupid shoes that don't have proper backing, and luckily enough, I am so not necessarily interested in becoming famous to be famous. I am more interested in the actual position that notoriety gives me to make lasting change and influence. And so I'm going to work my damned hardest to make sure that I'm in a position to help people. And I think some of the best ways to do that, though, is by having more influence. So that's my goal. I want a ton of influence so I can save the world.
Wow, that's cool.
Or at least find others that want to work together to do that. And I feel like we can start today with cosplay, though, and Ultimate Cosplay Podcast, and people like PapaBear on here.
Even a great example to the question you just asked both of us is, like we put on the show last year. It was a lot of fun. People wanted it again, which is why we're doing it. And we started, we registered Ultimate Cosplay as an LLC because we believe in this community, because we believe in not just our committee and our panel of judges in this event, but the desire and the need from the world that people are showing us every day, that there's a demand for some kind of union or community or something a little bit more solid, because like every cosplayer is their own brand, right? We're all blank cosplay or blank props or blank custom or whatever, right? And
absolutely.
Of course there are communities. Of course there are, great Facebook groups and all kinds of things, and every city has different, but we want something a little bit more significant on an international, global level where we can pursue other goals that we haven't even told the public about yet. but things are coming, and we have a lot of goals because we want to share so much with the world. And we want you to be part of that, Papa Bear.
Well, I
So
appreciate that.
yeah,
And well, and what what you both talked about really resonated with me is the community part of it. It's trying to leave the community better than what you found it in, and that to me is the most important piece of all this, of doing all the the workshops and the putting on the contest and doing these things, is just trying to reinforce a positive environment and building a positive community. And that's also my goal. It's community building,
yep.
Building bridges and not building walls. So that's the best part.
Well, dude, if that's your focus, you're right in line with the goals of what Ultimate Cosplay is. Not just this contest, but with everything that we do from here on out. And
Yeah, I mean, to add to that, if there's ever something we can do to help you with what
Yep.
you're doing and your goals, man, reach out to us anytime.
yeah, no, like
Appreciate that.
Several can
have,
be our mascot if you need him.
you've made not just Hoku and I, but like our whole panel, not just the judges, but the competitors too, and the admin support and all, like the companies and the sponsor, like we all know each other. Like something that's so funny to me, this is just kind of a side topic, when I talk to sponsors or publishers or other people that are interested in being affiliate, like they don't realize that we all know each other already. It's so funny that when they're like, I talk to so many companies and they have, it's hilarious that we are that tight knit. We all know each other. And if we don't know someone, we know someone that knows that person, type of thing.
For sure.
And that's one of the most powerful things that happened last year, is the amount of people that got to meet each other on a international level where they couldn't have done that before. And this year is going to be even bigger. And even our Discord server literally won't shut up about how goddamn happy they are every day about this community, which is so cool. I love it. And we all watched the BlizzCon cosplay contest together. So like, we want to keep unifying with the principle of positivity and growth. So I'm so grateful that you're part of our crew, like you're part of our team, that you're just part of this world. Like this world needs more people like you. And I'm so happy that you exist and that we got to discover that on this podcast. I knew it before a little bit, but like your presence is, I bet you're not even aware of this, but when you go to cons, you have that kind of presence that's so positively blinding to people that it intimidates the hell out of them. And it probably actually pushes a lot of people away from approaching you, even though you probably just literally open your arms and give them a hug.
For sure.
But that's a thing that happens with people that are that just powerfully positive. And I'll tell everyone watching this, do not be afraid of those kind of people. Let those people into your life. Let us into your life, because we want to meet you.
Yes.
And forgive me if I'm speaking for, both of you guys, but we really do want to meet you guys, and that's why we're doing this.
Well, we can't do it alone.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, what we're trying to do, we spoke, it's funny, we've kind of maintained a bit of the same theme through a lot of the podcasts, but it definitely amped up when we had Beverly on here, and then also with Stella last week, which was how absolutely important community and community relations and involvement are. And what people, I hope, realize is we're trying to create a new community where the actual social norm and the social expectation is for it to be a positive environment. It's for it to be lacking of the toxic nature that we normally are kind of just constantly being exposed to.
Right.
Because this is in fact supposed to be a sanctuary. And one of the biggest rules that we have with Ultimate Cosplay is zero tolerance policy for BS and toxic behavior.
Yep.
You know, if what you're doing is causing harm and you know it, like obviously sometimes people cause harm without knowing what they're doing. If there is malice and we see that, you are gone. And no questions asked, no second strike, nothing, you're gone. And, you know, we've got people like, you know, Papa Bear over there's, he's like the nicest human I've ever met, right? But I'm sure he can be a terrifying human when he sees people being bullies. Just saying.
Don't paint a picture that, you know, he's gonna like
He is going to smile the evil out of those people.
Just grip someone by the shoulders and smile in their face until they just refuse to be negative anymore. That's what he's gonna do. That would be fucking terrifying.
Gosh, that is like that sounds like the greatest raid boss in WoW. Just
oh, that's like an exorcism type of thing.
Right.
Like,
thou shalt not toxic.
Right. Oh, dude, your angry vein is coming in because you felt feelings.
No, I'm blushing.
Yep.
I'm in love with both of you.
And no one asked me what my turn-ons and turn-offs are, but that's my turn-off is just pure negativity for no reason within the community. Just toxic behavior. And I wrote the rules for the contest, and I had a couple of people like give me notes, and they were like, you don't have to put the whole thing about toxic behavior in all bold and in like larger font size. And I was like, but I really want people to know that that's not a lot. And they were like, but you really don't have to put it as huge text because it looks bad. So I took their advice. But that is my turn off. And my turn.
What is your turn on?
My turn on is, I think we're going to talk about my turn on is being in California with red corduroy pants.
Oh my goodness!
And the other thing, is just people, like literally both of you guys are a pure example of my biggest turn on. Is people that want to meet
biggest turn on right now in
people,
chat, by the way.
Yeah. And Monster Hunter. Anything Monster Hunter is a huge turn on. And like I'm telling you guys, but that and just overall like positivity, people that help people in any capacity, especially in the cosplay world. People that are there for each other when someone needs help. And that happens. Like, how many times have you been to a con where you saw someone crying in the corner because they felt like they were left out, or they were socially awkward, or their costume wasn't good enough, or they weren't the right gender, or they weren't the right skin color, or, like things like that. It's like, that's bullshit. Like, if I could go on a whole stupid shoe rampage about this right now. But I just love seeing people help each other. If you see someone that looks like they're not comfortable besides their shoes, talk to them and just say like, hey, like, I'm whatever your name is. Like, where are you from? Or, what if, and don't be like creepy about it, but just help people. That's amazing.
I got a question for both of you, actually. So
we're over our time limit. Papa Bear, we're in.
Don't tell him.
We're in overtime. Don't tell him. This is sudden death right now. Okay, let's hit us.
So something that Sammy and I have done at a lot of conventions in the past is we've done a panel on positivity. We call it cost positivity versus toxicity, and I wonder if we could do that panel kind of through this medium. Would you guys ever want to try to do that?
A panel about toxicity?
No, it's called cost positivity versus toxicity. And it's essentially different approaches towards, recognizing the toxic behavior and coping mechanisms to not allow it to just act as that anchor that it tends to be. You know what I mean? And it's not just about negating the toxicity of others, but it's about uplifting those around you to almost create a barrier of sorts. So those people are not as capable of influencing you with their sad, toxic nastiness. You know what I mean? It's a topic that's very important to me. And I think that maybe what we could do is actually find 2 or 3 more people and maybe just do like an hour like chat about positive things and how we keep it up and how we keep going forth to move the world in a positive direction.
Well, forgive me, because you said I want to ask you both a question when you started this.
I'm asking you too if you'll do it with me.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
My answer is yes.
All right. So we'll talk on the
that's a
side
great
and
idea.
find a couple gals to join us, and maybe a couple of individuals that are LGBTQ, different color, everything. Why
Next
not?
Week, we have this isn't what you're talking about, but next week we'll have Sanet, otherwise known as Spicy
the
Tie
spicy
Design.
tie. I'm so excited.
Which is going to be very interesting.
But the problem is I also really want to keep talking to Papa Bear. So
I do too. I don't want to stop talking to you. And I know you got like a family and a job and you were working on your house all day and it's snowing and you got a shovel and all that shit. But like, this is, and
oh, Severo, you farted.
With what you just said, Hoku.
Sorry.
Hoku. Like every podcast we do is like that just flood of positivity. Like,
sure.
How many weeks in a row have people sent us messages or been in chat and said like, wow, like I needed to hear that, or I feel like inspired. This is helping me get up in the morning to work on my costume.
But the podcast is, first and foremost, it's really about the guest. It's we want to get inside your brain and pick your brain. No, I want to do something that's themed. I want to do something that's targeted. And I think there's a couple of topics where that's missing. Like, can you imagine doing one of these? I'm not talking about replacing what we're doing weekly. Instead, it's more of like an accessory to it. But like getting like Diana on here, Tolin, and talking about costume contests and the structure, like the concepts behind contests. There's a lot more going on, guys, that I think some of that topic could help you in contests, whether it's ours or it's, BlizzCon that we saw earlier, or whatever convention you want to compete in, even TwitchCon. Like, think about it this way. There is a ton of people involved with Ultimate Cosplay who have been involved with TwitchCon. So if that's one of your goals as well, like pick some of our brains, because we might be able to give you some insight. That's what I mean, though, is like, let's create some targeted kind of discussion topics where we can really get a deep dive on them. Because I love philosophy and I love going that deep on topics. So it's something that
I think that would be fun to have.
It would be
an exploration of that kind of
like a round table.
Yeah.
Positivity round table.
We have to. Something that's funny that Papa Bear got to learn is that we are very disorganized, and we asked him just a couple of days ago. And
that's because we haven't figured out how to time travel.
That, and like we are terrible at time management, but we work hard and we're nice to people.
That's true.
We also have, like, respectively, Chris, you and I together, we have like 12 different jobs.
Correct.
So,
and now we're partners in a new business together.
Oh no, 13 Ultimate Cosplay LLC.
By the way, Evil Ted is in chat and he said, "What's up, Papa Bear? Happy to have you as one of our judges this year."
Yes,
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Actually, Evil Ted was one of the first YouTube videos I ever watched.
Same.
Just trying to figure stuff. I mean, he was one of the very few channels that was out there putting out like dedicated content for cosplay.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but I'm pretty sure Evil Ted created the very first YouTube video on YouTube.
Yep.
He's been around that long.
Yeah. Evil Ted is older than the internet.
I think he actually helped found it.
Actually, most of us are older than the internet. He did invent the word cosplay, though.
Did he?
No, he didn't.
Do we know who invented the word?
You can
cosplay?
Wikipedia. It says it's been around since like the 1930s, but who the hell knows?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
I've heard many different stories about that.
But, all right. Well, so we've reached our time, I think. Papa Bear, you have the floor. What is your social media? Is there any words of wisdom that you'd like to spread that you haven't already just conveyed to the
Um,
masses. Like, help us all and leave us with just feelings of joy and happiness.
okay, so words of wisdom before I shamelessly self promote.
No
Words of
shame.
wisdom would be: we all can't, go to cons and run panels, and we all can't do these things. But one thing that anybody can do that can positively influence the community as a whole is to like, share, and comment on
Mm.
other people's work.
Yeah.
Anybody can do that. You don't have to go anywhere for it. You don't have to be any. You don't have to have any. You don't have to be a cosplay anything. If you want to spread any positivity in the community whatsoever, you can like, share, and comment on cosplayers' things, and that helps everybody out. It
Yeah.
helps everyone out. And there's
Yeah.
no excuse not to be doing that if you're all about sharing the love and spreading the creativity. Anyone can do that. And I get it. Everybody can't public speak. Everybody can't be a guest and do these things, but anyone can like, share, comment
Yep.
on on content out there. So I always encourage that. That always helps everyone. Everybody appreciates when someone comments on their stuff, when someone shares their stuff. It's always like a very nice positive thing. So if we're all doing that a fair amount of the time, the community is better for it.
Yep.
So that's my pro tip for the day. Just like comment, share. It costs you nothing, and that's always a positive force in the community. And so if you want to follow me, I'm PapaBear Cosplay on Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. I have the same name across all socials. You go to my website, papabearstudios.com. You can check that out as well. And I mean, or you just throw Papa Bear Cosplay in the Google machine and I'll pop up.
Awesome.
Something I
Awesome.
before we ended, this is really important to me. You were talking about liking, sharing, retweeting, all that kind of stuff. Something I admire about you so much is you've been such a powerful kind of just figure in the whole Black History Month, and sharing other, Black history, or like not Black history cosplayers because they're alive right now, but just other artists, other, people of color, whether, Black or people of color, but you've been so supportive and positive, and that's something that this whole world needs right now. And you've been, every time I look at my Instagram stories, you're always the first name, and I always look at every damn picture. I'm like, this dude is just on it. Like, he is every day. Like 5, 10, 15, 20 different people showing off amazing work that people have done.
Yeah.
And like, the community is better for it. So if you guys aren't following PapaBear, please do so. And please enjoy his content and the people that he is trying to get you to get excited about, because it's had a big effect on me, and I've followed a lot of people because of you. So thank you for that.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it. It's
All
always
right.
it's this month it's always good to get other creators out there, and because there's a whole section that needs exposure and things like that, and that's a whole we can have a whole conversation about
I
that
mean, that
too
might be
at
another
some
theme,
point.
We
man.
certainly could.
Might
And
be
we
another
we
theme.
talked to Cutie Pie Sensei was our first interview, and we talked almost from the beginning of the podcast specifically about kind of that, topic throughout a lot of the podcast,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
because we early on asked her what some of her struggles as a cosplayer was, and that was something she brought up. And I'm really happy that um obviously we didn't have to focus on that the whole time, because that's not why you're here. The color of your
Right,
skin is
right.
not why you're on the show. You're on the show because of the kind of person that you are. But I feel like we're all actually at kind of a loss that we don't get to explore more of your experience. Maybe we want to have you back on the show and, have kind of another mixed group of men and women of, people of different color
sure.
and talk about, what is the state of the world in cosplay? Like how
For
are we
you.
doing? How is
Yeah.
the world doing? And if
Yeah.
we're doing shitty, we need to know. And if we're doing better things, good to acknowledge that, but it's always better to
Oh
take
man.
we have to
These
take inventory.
podcasts,
Yeah,
whew.
we have to take legitimate, authentic inventory. Just like we have to judge people authentically, we have to judge ourselves authentically. So anyway, you're right. That could be that's a whole, we
For
could
sure, yeah,
we could
yeah,
go on
for
that
sure.
for a while, and I'd love to,
Yeah.
but I don't want to chain you to your computer all night. Actually do, but
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, we do, but we're also kind souls. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna end it here, I think.
okay.
All right. Well, all right. So thank you everybody for being a part of our podcast today. I hope you found some of what we discussed insightful and that it is something that is going to help you make lasting change that is valuable to your life, as well as maybe sharing some of the wisdom with those around you. I myself personally, I have a lot to think about because so much of what we said here resonated today, but it also made me think a lot about how this can grow and become more and more. So once again, your involvement is always so appreciated. Papa Bear, thank you so much for being on our podcast. Chris, I love you to death.
Love you too, buddy.
Especially when you've got a boner in California. And, I think with that being said, guys, this is the end of the day and I love you all. So I will see you next week. We're going to have Sanit of Spicy Thai Design on Saturday at 4:00 p.m. Pacific time.
Yep.
So
Make sure you follow Papa Bear, please.
Yes, if you have not
Thank
followed
you,
Papa
thank
Bear,
you.
please go follow him. The social media information will be posted below on Twitch as well as on YouTube when we make these available on YouTube. And also, please follow and like Talk Custom as well as Hoku Props on both as well. So we'll see you guys next week.
All right,
Look
later,
at
guys.
that guy.